In this video, I'm going to document my conversion of a wheel set that came on my Giant Trance 27.5 This is a 2014 model. And this is a fantastic bike. I think it has really good components on it. But I really like tubeless wheel sets, especially the stands wheel sets. And so I'm going to show in this video my conversion of this bike to those wheels, and then go for some rides and report back on if I feel like there's a difference in the way it rides. Now in doing this, I'm also going to convert this bike to a 142 by 12 through axle. This bike comes with a standard quick release, and so I'm going to do that conversion as well. So hopefully that's going to improve the ride characteristic of this bike. Before I do the conversion, I'm just going to show you the bike here, and I'm also going to weigh it, and we're going to see what difference the new wheel set makes in terms of weight. It comes with the Giant PXC2 27.5 wheel set, which is not a bad wheel set. I think it's a little heavy, but I love running tubeless, and I like using tubeless rims instead of trying to do the rubber rim strip conversion. I've done the rubber rim strip, it works great, but I want a wheel set that's designed specifically for tubeless. So this bike comes in right at 30 pounds in pretty much stock form. I just added the XT Trail pedals, a carbon water bottle cage, and I changed out the grips to these lizard skin grips from the stock lock-ons. So again, right at 30 pounds, and I'm going to do the wheel conversion, and we'll see how that's changed the weight of the bike. And the wheels that I'm going to be converting are the Stan's No Tube Flow EX 27.5 wheels. This is their all mountain wheel, as opposed to the arch and the crest. This is their widest rim, which I thought was a good application for the Trance. And so let's get the tire on. I'm going to put the tire, the cassette, and the rotors over onto the new wheel set, and we'll get a weight, see how the weight is. Alright, so let's get the cassette off the original wheel, and we'll pull the rotor off, and we'll go ahead and pull the tire off. So before I build this up, I'm actually going to weigh the wheels, and let's see what kind of weight savings we get between the stock and the Stan's Flow. So this is the stock rear wheel with everything stripped off, the tire, the cassette, and the rotor. And that comes in at 2.48 pounds. And the Stan's Flow rear wheel comes in at 2.22, so about a 0.26, about a quarter pound savings on the rear wheel. Now, this does have the valve stem installed, and I'll be mounting up the rear tire tubeless, so we'll probably get a little bit more weight savings for the whole wheel, and that will have to be determined when I build up the whole bike with the wheels, and we'll see what the overall weight savings is. And the stock front wheel comes in at 1.86 pounds, and the Stan's Flow EX front wheel actually comes in at 1.94, so just slightly heavier than the stock wheel. But again, we're going to be losing the tube, so that's going to have a decent weight savings overall. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to weigh the stock tubes, and we're at 0.88 pounds, so almost a pound weight savings just by taking the tubes out. And of course, you've got to use some Stan's fluid or sealant, whatever you use, and that's going to add a little bit of weight, but there is going to be a weight savings by pulling the tubes out. All right, now I've got the Giant axle conversion kit. I had to order this from my shop, and this is what you would need if you're going to convert a Giant bike from a 135 to a 142. And so these are, they're cheap. I mean, they're about 10 bucks or so. What's expensive is the maxle, and unfortunately Giant has the maxles back ordered again. I had to wait forever, about 5 months, for the one for my Anthem. Now the one for the Trance is like 3 months out, so really not cool that those are so back ordered. But the good news is these were in stock, so I'm going to put this on. So the left side of these is just one piece, so you just take a 2mm hex wrench and undo this little bolt on the outside and just replace it with the one that came in the kit. And the new one for the 142 just pops right there on the inside, and then the kit actually comes with its own screws with Loctite already on them, so I'm going to use the one in the kit. So again, just 2.5 millimeter wrench, and do the left side, and then we'll do the right one. And I'm just going to take off the derailleur. Just take a 5 millimeter wrench, get the derailleur off, and then we'll take the old conversion kit off and put the new one on. And on the right side, it's 2 pieces. And I didn't show it, but I pulled the old one off. And if you do this, I'll give you a little trick here, which I didn't do and I should have. And that is loosen the rear derailleur, the 5 millimeter bolt, before you pull the old wheels off, or the 135 wheels, because you can't get a lot of torque on this piece. It's just too flimsy. You could bend it. So what I did is I actually pulled the piece off with the derailleur still hooked to it, put it in a bench vise, and then undid the bolt. So just a little trick. So on these, on the Giant conversion kits, you put the bigger piece that holds the derailleur on the inside, and then the smaller one goes on the outside. And the smaller one has the threads for the axle. And then the little screw, the 2 millimeter Allen screw, threads in from the inside and threads into the piece on the outside. So I'm just going to take my Allen wrench and tighten that up, and the frame is converted to a 142. So, you know, again, I think Giant, the way they did this, it's really cool. I had an Orbea that was very similar. It was an easy conversion like this. So really cool that Giant does this. What's very uncool is that the Maxills are proprietary and that they're so back ordered. So I really don't like proprietary stuff. It's a different thread pattern, and my local bike shop actually told me that you cannot right now get those from DT Swiss because they're made by DT Swiss for Giant, but it is proprietary. It only fits this thread pattern only fits that DT Swiss. I call it a Maxill. Maxill's really RockShox's name for it. It's just a 142 through axle. So I really wish Giant would not make that proprietary, and you know, if they do, make them available for us so we don't have to wait 3 or 4 months. All right, I'm just going to put the derailleur back on, and the frame's converted. And just so you can see it, this is the axle, and it's got Giant branding on it, but it's made by DT Swiss. It has a little DT Swiss tag on it when you get it brand new. But this is the one from my Anthem, so I can only ride one bike at a time. So what I'm going to do is just have to switch this axle until the other one comes in from Giant. And here is the finished product with the Stan's wheels on the Trance now with the 142 through axle. And of course the front was a 15QR before. So it's weighing in now at 29.2 pounds. And so by changing the wheel set and taking out the tubes, I've dropped about 0.8 pounds of rotational weight. So that should really help the ride characteristic of this bike. So I'll do a little parking lot test, and then I'll take it out on the trail for a while and report back on how the Stan's Flow wheel set feels compared to the stock one. I am out on a ride now, and I wanted to give a report on the wheels. This is my second ride. The first ride I did some drops and stuff like that. Today's just a trail ride. The trails I'm riding don't have any sustained climbs or descents, but they do have some shorter, steeper climbs. And the main thing that I notice after doing this wheel swap is that the bike accelerates a little bit better. Now, I've been riding my Anthem mainly, and this is my first time back on this bike in a while. But I do notice some better acceleration, mainly due to the fact that the wheels are a little bit lighter, which is due to the fact that there are no tubes now in the wheels. So that's a good thing, and that's kind of what I was hoping for on this bike. When I go back and forth between my Anthem and this Trance, This bike feels a little sluggish when I first get back on it, mainly in the acceleration department. And speaking of that, this bike really corners well. Slacker head angles really allow you to just corner hard on the bike. You've got a lot of confidence in the corners. It holds the line really well. At slower speeds, it feels like it's a little sluggish and the kind of steering flops back and forth, but the slack head angle when you get up to speed just allows you to slam corners with a lot of confidence. And I say that because these wheels have a little bit wider rim on them, and they're also a little bit stiffer than the stock wheels. I don't notice a whole lot of stiffness difference, but there is a little bit of difference. Part of that may be due to the fact that I am now running the 12 millimeter through axle, so a thicker through axle, which allows the rear end to be a little bit stiffer. What's also nice about the flow rims with the width is it'll spread the tire out a little bit more, so you get a better contact patch, so it's a little bit wider, and that allows you to get some more braking surface and in cornering. I like the flows because they're not too wide. If you go too wide, what'll happen is you'll start to deform the tire. It'll get more of a square shape than what it's designed for, and that can affect the cornering. I don't notice that with the flows on this bike. Again, it does spread the tire out a little bit, but I think just enough to not deform the tire. And let me add that when you pull the tubes out of a tire, generally what will happen is you're going to get more compliance with the tire. In other words, it's going to deform better over roots and rocks, which gives it a more supple ride and gives you more grip. And I've been riding, like I said, my Anthem, which is 100 millimeters of travel, and this is 140, so it's hard to really tell that, but I know from past experience from doing that, that the tire is going to, like I said, get better grip, and it's just going to feel better. It's going to have less rolling resistance without the tubes in it. The stiffer wheels are going to really play into effect when you're on real technical fast descents. The faster you go, the better the stiffness will improve the handling characteristics of the bike. So it's going to be a few weeks before I can actually do that. I've got a trip planned up to the mountains, and I won't be able to really hit it real fast yet with these wheels, but so far I'm really happy with the conversion from the stock wheels to the flows on my Giant Trance. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video now, and what I'll do is in a few weeks from now I'll probably post some kind of update after riding the Trance in the mountains with the flow wheels, and give a better report of more all mountain type riding with the bike. So thanks for watching.